All right, guys, we are going to quickly go over finding the midpoint and endpoint of segments and also the distance formula. In this first problem, we are going to find the coordinates of the midpoint of this segment. It says with endpoints t 6, -1 and u 1, -4. So here is the segment t and u, and t has coordinates 6, -1 and u 1, -4. Always illustrate, guys. Label x1, y1. Your first endpoint is x1, y1. Your second endpoint is x2, y2. And your midpoint is always x, y. Memorize that. Makes it easier because now we know what we're looking for. We're looking for x and y. And so if you memorize that midpoint formula, we know that x equals x1 plus x2 divided by 2. And you just substitute. I have x. I don't know x. If you look at my arrow here, I don't know x, so x is x. x1 is 6 plus x2 is 1 over 2. I have 6 plus 1 equals 7 over 2. So 3.5 or 7 over 2 is my x coordinate of the midpoint. All right, so now I have y equals y1 plus y2 over 2. I don't know y, so that is my unknown. y1 is -1. y2 is -4. I combine like terms. -1 minus 4 is -5 over 2. So your y coordinate is -5 over 2. Or -2.5. So your answer would be 7 over 2 and -5 over 2. And of course, that's 3.5 and -2.5. All right, next, you have the endpoints V and W, and they want you to find the midpoint. V is -2, -6, and W is x plus 2 and y plus 3. You go ahead and label x1, y1, x2, y2, and of course x, y. What are we solving for? X, y. So it always makes it easier. I'm going to plug it into the formula x1 plus x2 divided by 2. Y equals y1 plus y2 divided by 2. And let's solve for the unknown. X is unknown, so that's what we will be solving for. x1 is -2. x2 is x plus 2. All over 2. When I combine like terms, -2 and +2 are 0, so I'm left with x. So x is x over 2. The x coordinate is x over 2. Over here, I have y, that's my unknown. Here, I'll write x over 2 here. Y is my unknown. y1 is -6. y2 is y plus 3 over 2. Y equals, I combine like terms, -6 plus 3 is -3 plus y, and that is my y coordinate. Of course, I want my variable in the front, so y equals y minus 3 over 2. So my midpoint is x over 2 and y minus 3 over 2. All right, on this next problem, you're going to find the endpoint. It says here, y is the midpoint of segment xz. So if you draw segment XZ and Y is the midpoint, that is how it looks. It helps you when you illustrate what you're given. X has coordinates 2, 4. Y has coordinates -1, 1. And they want you to find the coordinates of Z. So we don't know Z. Of course, we label X1, Y1, X2, Y2, and XY. We're going to plug it into the formula. Y equals Y1. Why did I do that? Sorry. Let's find X first. I'm jumping ahead. I still did it. X equals X1 plus X2 divided by 2. So here, this time, guys, look, we have an X. We have an X. So X is -1. We have an X1. X1 is 2 plus X2 is what we do not have. That is what we are solving for. So that's going to be our variable. I like to change the color so you can see what we're doing. All right, so now that we're solving for X and it's over here, we need to multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of that fraction. It's easy to do. 2 times -1 is -2 equals 2 plus X, because that's now what we're left with. And we just solve for X. Subtract 2 from both sides, and X equals -4. I'm going to use the symmetric property to rewrite that. So here we go. We found X2. Now let's do the same for Y. Y equals Y1 plus Y2 divided by 2. We substitute. I have a Y, it's there. Y equals 1. Y1 equals 4. Y2, that is what we're looking for. That is our unknown. And I'm going to change the colors on that so you can see what we're solving for. Over 2. Again, our variable's here, so we need to get rid of that fraction. Let's multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of that fraction. And 2 equals 4 plus Y. I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides, and Y equals -2. So my final answer would be -4 and -2. Those are the coordinates of that endpoint. All right. Next, let's go over the distance formula. Very simple. Everybody seems to be doing great with this as well. I'm very proud of that. Distance equals X2 minus X1 squared plus Y2 minus Y1 squared. Good thing about formulas, everything's given to you. You just plug it in. So here we have K, and let's go ahead and designate our X1, Y1. So this is my first point, X1, Y1, and then I have X2, Y2. They gave me those 2 coordinates, and I'm just going to use them. So I'm going to substitute everywhere I see it. So I have X2. X2 is -2 minus X1 is -7 minus -7 and squared. I'm not changing anything. I'm just plugging in what I have. So I have Y2. Y2 is 0 minus Y1 is -4 squared. You could put in your calculator. I'm not against the calculator. Use it. But if not, you have -2 plus 7 squared plus 0 plus 4 squared. So that gives you 5 squared plus 4 squared. 25 plus 16 is 41. So your answer would be the square root of 41. That is the distance between those 2 points.